In a world that often rushes to label and box people into predefined identities, decoding gender expression, more than clothes, invites us to pause, reflect, and unravel the deeper threads of what it truly means to express who we are. Gender expression isn't just about the clothes we wear, the colors we prefer, or the way we walk or talk. It's a rich, layered reflection of identity, shaped by culture, experience, emotion, and, above all, the innate human desire to be seen and understood. For too long, society has clung tightly to rigid binaries, expecting boys to be tough and girls to be delicate, men to wear suits and women to wear dresses. But what happens when someone dares to blur those lines? What happens when someone finds comfort in spaces that tradition never made room for? This isn't about fashion, it's about freedom. About the right to exist without shame, to be expressive without fear. This video is a heartfelt journey through the voices, stories, and realities of people whose gender expression challenges the norms, but also enriches the world around them. From bold makeup to quiet gestures, from soft fabrics to sharp haircuts, every detail tells a story. A story not of rebellion, but of authenticity. For many, expressing their gender is not a choice, it's survival. It's the difference between feeling invisible and finally seeing themselves reflected in the mirror. It's also important to understand that gender expression isn't exclusive to the LGBTQ+ community. Cisgender individuals express gender every day too, often without even realizing it. The difference lies in how society interprets that expression, and who is allowed to do so freely without being questioned, ridiculed, or worse, harmed. In this episode, we explore how gender expression intersects with identity, safety, and acceptance. We'll hear from artists, activists, students, and everyday people who have found courage in the simplest acts, putting on a skirt, cutting their hair, or wearing a rainbow pin. And we'll challenge ourselves to unlearn old assumptions and embrace the truth that human identity is never binary, never static, it's fluid, evolving, and beautifully complex. So whether you're here to learn, to relate, or to begin your own journey of understanding, you're in the right place. Let this video be a safe space, one that honors vulnerability, champions diversity, and reminds us that what we see on the outside is just the surface of a much deeper, richer identity. We all want the same thing: to be seen, to be respected, to be free. And maybe, just maybe, by the end of this video, we'll realize that embracing others' expressions doesn't take anything away from us. In fact, it adds color, compassion, and depth to a world that so desperately needs it. This is not just about clothes, it's about courage. It's about connection. And it starts now. Beyond the scenes, what is gender expression? We've all done it, seen someone walking down the street and, in a split second, made an assumption. Maybe it was the way they wore their hair, the color of their shirt, or the way they moved. She must be so confident, you think. He's probably into fashion. But what if she doesn't identify as a woman? What if he doesn't see himself in the word he? What if that person doesn't fit into either box, or any box at all? Our world has conditioned us to interpret gender through visual clues, clothing, hairstyle, voice, mannerisms. Yet, as familiar as these signals may seem, they often tell only part of the story. This is where the idea of gender expression comes into play, and it's time we looked beyond the scenes. Gender expression is the way we outwardly show our gender to the world. It includes our clothes, gestures, voice, behavior, and even our names. But, and this is vital, it isn't the same as gender identity, which is how we feel and understand ourselves internally. And neither gender expression nor gender identity necessarily align with the biological sex we were assigned at birth. Someone might express themselves in a way that doesn't match what society expects, and that doesn't make them any less real, valid, or worthy of being seen. What's often missed in this conversation is that gender expression isn't just a topic for the LGBTQ+ community, it's something everyone experiences. Think about it, have you ever been told that's not ladylike, or boys don't wear that? These comments aren't just annoying, they're symptoms of a culture that treats gender as a set of rigid rules, rather than a spectrum of beautiful variation. And that spectrum? It's where true authenticity lives. Some people express their gender in traditionally masculine or feminine ways. Others blur, blend, or break those boundaries entirely. There's no wrong way to be. There's only your way. Understanding gender expression helps us break free from outdated norms and judgments. It invites us to see people, not as stereotypes or categories, but as whole, complex individuals. When we let go of the need to define others based on how they look or dress, we create space for deeper empathy. We stop asking, "What are you?" and start asking, "Who are you?" A question that opens hearts, not closes doors. So next time you catch yourself making a snap judgment based on someone's outfit, take a breath. Pause. Remind yourself, clothing is not a code to crack someone's identity. Gender expression is just one piece of a much larger, richer human story. Let's move beyond the seams. Let's listen more, judge less, and celebrate the infinite ways people show up in the world. Because when we create space for everyone to be seen and heard as they truly are, we all become more free. The language of expression, more than fabric. Gender expression is often mistaken for just what we wear, skirts or suits, lipstick or stubble. But the truth is far deeper, more intimate, and more human than clothing alone could ever reveal. In this journey, we explore the quiet poetry of how people express their identities beyond fabric, through the modulation of voice, the rhythm of footsteps, the confidence in posture, the softness in a smile, and even in something as seemingly simple, yet profoundly powerful, as the choice of a name or pronoun. These aspects are not accessories to identity, they are identity. Voice, for instance, becomes a tool of truth. For many trans and non-binary individuals, altering or reclaiming their voice isn't just about pitch, it's about authenticity. It's about no longer wincing when hearing oneself speak. A deeper tone, a lighter one, a measured cadence, each change whispers, "This is who I am." It's not performance. It's presence. And then there's body language, how someone sits, how they walk, how they claim space. Gait can reflect liberation or restraint, pride or fear. For centuries, society has policed these subtleties, telling boys not to sway their hips, telling girls to shrink themselves. But slowly, norms are shifting. People are walking freer, bolder, more in tune with their truth. And when someone allows themselves to move naturally, outside the binary expectations, they're not just expressing gender, they're reclaiming agency. Names and pronouns, too, carry deep emotional weight. A name is often the first gift we're given, but for many, it's not the right one. Choosing your own name can feel like exhaling for the first time. It's a declaration, I exist in the way I say I do. And every time someone respects that name, that pronoun, it's an act of affirmation. A simple they or he or she becomes a thread stitching a person back into themselves. Across cultures and history, gender expression has never been static. In ancient South Asia, hijras embodied a third gender identity that included unique mannerisms and rituals. In indigenous North American tribes, Two-spirit individuals were celebrated for blending masculine and feminine qualities. Yet colonization and rigid binaries erased or punished such expressions. Today, as history is reclaimed and new language is born, we are beginning to see just how beautifully fluid gender expression can be, beyond stereotypes, beyond limitation. From drag artists who transform performance into protest, to quiet teenagers adjusting their voice in front of a mirror, to elders finally using the name they've always felt, these moments aren't just personal victories. They're acts of resistance. They are stories of becoming. So let's unlearn the idea that clothes are the only canvas of gender. Let's tune our ears to the deeper language. The one spoken in gestures, tones, names, and the way someone finally holds themselves upright. Internal resonance, why expression matters. In a world constantly demanding conformity, the act of expressing one's authentic self becomes not just brave, it becomes vital. Internal resonance, why expression matters explores the deep psychological and emotional significance of embracing one's true gender expression, especially in the face of societal expectations. Gender expression isn't just about clothing, voice, or behavior, it's about survival, joy, and the innate human need to feel seen. When individuals are given the freedom to align their external presentation with their internal identity, something remarkable happens, they begin to heal. For many, this alignment isn't merely cosmetic, it's a quiet revolution of the soul. Every time a trans person wears what affirms them, every time someone uses a name or pronoun that finally fits, it becomes a step toward reclaiming joy that was once stolen by shame, silence, or fear. This phenomenon, often called gender euphoria, is more than just happiness. It is a deep, resonant sense of relief, of breathing freely for the first time, of being at home in one's skin. But what happens when that expression is met not with celebration, but rejection? Unfortunately, too many still face this reality. The pain of being invalidated, whether through misgendering, stares, erasure, or outright violence, can fracture a person's sense of self. It can lead to isolation, depression, and an ever-present fear of existing. Mental health statistics consistently show that LGBTQ+ individuals, especially trans and non-binary people, are at greater risk for anxiety and suicidal ideation. But it isn't their identities that cause this pain, it's the world's refusal to accept them. Affirmation, on the other hand, has a profound and measurable impact. Studies show that people who are supported in their gender expression, by family, friends, and communities, experience significantly lower levels of depression and distress. When someone is told, "You are valid, you are loved," or simply "I see you," it plants the seeds of belonging. Belonging fosters hope. Hope fuels resilience. And resilience births freedom. Expression is not a luxury. It is a basic need. When individuals are given room to express their truest selves without shame, it creates a ripple effect, stronger mental health, deeper community bonds, and a more compassionate society. This isn't just a queer issue, it's a human one. Every person, regardless of identity, benefits when authenticity is honored. Our collective emotional well-being thrives in a culture that nurtures, not polices, the spectrum of human experience. So let us listen. Let us learn. Let us create space where internal resonance is not an exception, but a norm. Because when people are allowed to be exactly who they are, loudly, quietly, unapologetically, they don't just survive. They shine. Decoding nuance, avoiding assumptions. In a world where identity is rich, diverse, and ever-evolving, understanding each other deeply requires more than surface-level observations. Decoding nuance, avoiding assumptions invites you to pause, reflect, and step into a more mindful way of seeing the world, especially when it comes to gender expression. Often, we're quick to assign meaning to how someone dresses, talks, or carries themselves. A woman in a suit must be trying to be a man, or a man with makeup is putting on an act. These assumptions are not only misguided, they can be deeply harmful. Gender expression is not a performance to entertain others. It's an authentic reflection of self, just as real, raw, and personal as your own way of moving through the world. So how do we navigate this space respectfully, without crossing lines or making others feel unseen? The first and most powerful step is simple: listen. Not just with your ears, but with your intention. Listen without the urge to categorize. Let people define themselves on their own terms, not yours. If you're unsure about something, like someone's pronouns, and the moment feels appropriate, asking with kindness and humility is far better than assuming. A gentle, "Hey, just wanted to check, what pronouns do you use?" can go a long way in building trust and safety. It's also vital to recognize that gender expression and gender identity are not the same. Someone can present themselves in a traditionally feminine way but identify as male, or express masculinity while identifying as non-binary. What they wear or how they move is not for you to decode like a puzzle. It's theirs to own, express, and live. The key is recognizing agency. Every person has the right to define and express themselves on their own terms, without having to explain or justify it to others. Let's also debunk a common myth, that non-conforming gender expressions are just phases or acts. Saying things like, "She's just a tomboy," or "He's too soft to be taken seriously," reduces complex identities to stereotypes. These expressions are not costumes. They are not cries for attention. They are deeply personal, often hard-won, and deserve respect. If you want to be an ally, or simply a better human, start by sitting with your discomfort. Let go of the need to immediately label or understand. Celebrate the fact that someone's truth might look different from yours. And most importantly, make space. Make space in your language, your assumptions, your expectations. In doing so, you create a world that says, "You are welcome here, exactly as you are." Let's stop assuming. Let's start listening. Because beyond the categories and assumptions lies something more beautiful, a tapestry of human experience that's richer, more honest, and full of nuance, if only we choose to see it. Building bridges towards a more inclusive world. In a world where identities are beautifully diverse yet often misunderstood, it's time we ask ourselves, what kind of world are we building? Is it one where only a few feel safe to be their true selves, or a world where every human, regardless of how they identify, feels seen, valued, and respected? Building bridges towards a more inclusive world invites us on a journey beyond tolerance and into true understanding. While conversations around gender expression are often centered on the LGBT+ community, it's crucial to recognize that embracing this diversity benefits everyone. When we break down the walls of gender norms, we free people from rigid roles that stifle authenticity, not just those who identify as queer or trans, but also the boy who loves ballet, the girl who dreams of being a mechanic, the parent who doesn't want their child boxed in by blue or pink. Understanding gender expression as a spectrum opens a door to a world where emotions, fashion, careers, and identities are no longer policed by outdated stereotypes. The broader societal benefits of this shift are profound. Children raised in inclusive environments grow up more empathetic, confident, and less constrained by fear of being different. Workplaces become more innovative when people bring their full selves to the table. Communities become safer when they reflect kindness instead of judgment. We begin to replace fear with connection. And isn't that what we all want? To feel connected. To feel like we belong. But building bridges takes more than good intentions, it takes action. Start by educating yourself, read books, follow diverse voices online, ask respectful questions, and unlearn the biases you may have inherited unknowingly. Language matters, too. Use people's correct pronouns. Speak up when you hear harmful jokes. Replace gendered assumptions with open curiosity. Ask someone what they enjoy doing, not whether they're a boy or girl thing. Make space in your life, workplace, and community for people who are often pushed to the margins. And if you get something wrong, apologize, learn, and keep going. Allyship isn't about being perfect. It's about choosing people over comfort, over silence. As we close this conversation, remember that inclusion is not a favor, it's a fundamental human right. When we build a world where all gender expressions are respected, we don't just uplift a marginalized group, we enrich the human experience for everyone. Let's celebrate the full spectrum of identity, with all its complexity, color, and courage. Let's commit to being the kind of people who listen deeply, who embrace difference, who lead with empathy. Because when we build bridges instead of barriers, we don't just cross divides, we heal them. And in doing so, we build not just a better world, but a more honest, compassionate, and human one. So today, take a step. Learn something new. Speak up. Reach out. Clapperboard title, Decoding Gender Expression, More Than Clothes. And as we come to the end of this heartfelt journey into the world of gender expression, let's take a moment to breathe it all in, not just the facts or the stories, but the feelings behind them. Because gender expression is not simply about what someone wears or how they style their hair, it's a deeply personal language of identity, freedom, and truth. It's the way someone says, "This is me," without needing permission. For some, it's bold colors and glittering confidence. For others, it's quiet resistance in a world that often demands conformity. But every expression, loud or soft, is valid. Maybe this video made you see yourself more clearly, or maybe it helped you understand someone you love a little better. Either way, that awareness is powerful. It's what builds empathy, and it's what creates space for people to live authentically. If there's one thing I hope you take with you, it's this. Gender expression is not just a topic, it's a tapestry of humanity, stitched together by courage and individuality. We don't have to fully understand someone's journey to respect it. So the next time you see someone breaking the norm, remember, they're not trying to confuse the world. They're just trying to be whole in it. And that deserves celebration, not shame. Let's choose to be the kind of people who ask curious questions, who listen more than we assume, and who never reduce anyone to labels or stereotypes. Whether you're exploring your own identity or standing beside someone on their path, know that you're part of something bigger, a movement toward dignity, inclusion, and love. Thank you for opening your heart today. If this touched you in any way, I invite you to share it, talk about it, and keep learning. Because the journey doesn't stop here. It continues every time we choose kindness over judgment, visibility over silence, and love over fear. Until next time, stay open, stay brave, and most of all, stay you.